call to order the Springboro Board of Education for March 20th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Here.
Stuckey.
Here.
Palage.
Here.
Goods.
Here.
Shuttleworth. Here.
Everybody stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Bab.
Yes.
Stuckey.
Yes.
Palage.
Yes.
Goods.
Yes.
Shuttleworth.
Yes.
Is there a motion? And I'm gonna just write it down. Excuse me. Get back up here. Is there a motion to adopt the February 21st, 2024 minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Bab.
Yes.
Stuckey.
Yes.
Palage.
Yes.
Goods.
Yes.
Shuttleworth.
Yes.
Is there a motion? Did I
That's
reverse
the
it?
24th. Yeah, you did the 21st. You
Yeah,
did
that's
the
what I
24th.
thought. Is there a motion to accept the 24th February spatial meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Bab.
Yes.
Stuckey.
Yes.
Palage.
Yes.
Goods.
Yes.
Shuttleworth.
Yes.
All right. Moving on, recognition of our guests tonight. Mr. Marshall, you handling it? No?
Recognition of the support of the Apex troop
Yeah.
from 5 Points Elementary, and Ms. Babb's going to explain
Oh,
what.
okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Don't have her name there.
We are super excited to have invited Mrs. Messinger's 5th grade class. As many people know, my son is an officer in the Army in North Pole, Fairbanks, Alaska. And he was talking to me a couple of years ago and said, it's just sad because he's over a platoon. And he said it's just sad because there's some soldiers that never get mail from their student or from their parents. They never get care packages. It's just kind of a sad place. And I said, really? So I got on Facebook and I said, hey, what do you guys think about getting behind some troops in Alaska and they're getting ready to go out into the field, out in the like 20 degree below zero field for 2 weeks where they stay in tents, it's freezing cold. I said, what if we had care packages for them? So that each of them had a bag and maybe some notes from kids. Well, Mrs. Messinger's class, for 2 years in a row now, we have had over 50 notes that these are some of our students have written. And to share with you guys what it has meant to the soldiers is just, it's a privilege for me. Because he said, Mom, there's some soldiers that are hanging pictures and letters on the refrigerator because they just don't have anybody at home to do this for them. It just meant so much. And then we also asked for donations like granola bars and salami, whatever that you can take out into the field. So once again, Springboro and the surrounding area is just amazing. Amazon delivers right there to him. But here's the funny thing. When they went to do the delivery, there was so much snow, he kept on having to go to the post office in North Pole, and there really is where he lives, and pick up all of the packages. So if you look behind you or over here, this is him with literally his SUV was full of stuff, and he had to do this like 3 times. And there's just one of the times that he went there because of the blessings of Springboro and the surrounding areas of donating to his troops. So there ended up, it was for his whole squadron, so it was over 100 soldiers that received notes, and I don't want to ruin it, but you are going to be getting some notes back from him. So his soldiers have been working on writing letters to you guys to thank you. It just meant so much to them. So if you can, I get the slides, I forget. Hang on. There is a little bit, each of their, I don't use all the right terminology, so if it's wrong and there's somebody military in here, sorry. There are different troops and platoons and squadrons. They each have little phrases that they say. So theirs is Arctic Tough, Apex, above the rest. So one soldier might say Arctic Tough, and then another one responds with Apex, and another one responds with above the rest. So that's what his is. And this just shows you, this is just a small portion of the bags that were there and what it meant to their soldiers. So Josh and I were talking, and he said, I'd like to do something for some of the people that have done things over and over again for us. And that is where I reached out, and I wanted to make sure that Mrs. Messinger's class, because they're so consistent with writing these letters. So what this is, it's a snowshoe, and it truly is what it looks like. This is what he is out in the mountains and doing. It's not made out of wood, but this is what he goes skiing on. And it says, Mrs. Messinger's class, thank you for your unwavering support of the soldiers of Apex Troop. Each note received and bag handed out reminded a soldier that there are people back home who love and support them. And for that, we are very grateful. We cannot do what we do without people like you. Arctic tough, Apex above the rest. So this is the reminder for Mrs. Messinger's classroom of what you are doing, and I love it because all of our schools are, is it Purple Heart designation?
Purple Star.
Purple Star. I say the wrong word. The Purple Star, and this is just another example of how we are taking care of our troops that are far, far away in Alaska during some of their tougher days. They knew that there were people, they call us in the lower 48. Anybody that's below, they call you from the lower 48. So to know that there's people from the lower 48 that were thinking of them. So I did ask the kids if a couple of them would share when Mrs. Messinger asked them to do this, what it was that they were thinking, and if they enjoyed it, if they thought it was dumb, if they, whatever. So does anybody want to share? Come on up. Can you come up here so we can hear you?
My name's Amelia, and the thing I liked about writing the letter was that so that people could hear that people that we are there for them, and what they do is very important to us.
Awesome. Well, they definitely felt that. Thank you, Amelia. Appreciate it. You want to take this back for your class? Somebody else like to share anything? Too nervous? That's totally good. That's totally good. Well, know that we appreciate you, and we just wanted to recognize the commitment that you guys have to our military. Greatly appreciated. That's it. Thanks.
If y'all want to do, we can do a photo behind the board here.
Yeah.
Where do you want us?
We want them back here.
Back here. Kids, yeah, go behind.
I'll take one, then I'll get out of the way.
Behind all the important.
Come on in, just even out behind them. Yeah, you can all can scoot up.
There might be a glare.
Come on in. Should I do? There you go. Student, right?
Here we go. Everybody look here. 1, 2, 3. Pick a few. There's a bunch of photographers behind me ready to take
That
more.
the parents gave them.
Yep.
Thank you.
I told them ahead of time.
Still do.
I'm excited.
Okay. 2.2, Springboro Education Association. Thanks. Classified employees. There was no prearranged, okay. Public participation on any agenda item. And then we'll move into the work session. 3.2, yeah. School calendar.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. I brought a handout because I'm a good elementary teacher. You gotta have something to do on.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome. Really, it's just two quick changes that I want to talk to you about. The first one is a change to the calendar for professional development, and what it does, it removes our early release times, and then takes that time plus a few additional hours that we're already way above the state minimum, and adds 2 additional PD days to our calendar. So currently we have 3. This would make it 5 PD days that we would have on the calendar next year, in lieu of early release, which has been well received by everyone that's here. So we're not having early release, especially transportation, but also lots of parents and teachers and administrators. It can be difficult to rearrange those things. So.
Was it just too hard to get anything in an hour, like a really pull everybody together? Yeah.
It's not very productive, partly because, they're teachers are tired at the end of the day. It's the last hour. You're staying later than you usually do for this.
Yeah.
But also, like, if, for example, for me, to get around to 3 buildings to do a face-to-face PD, it takes 3 months to give 3 buildings the same PD. So you can do virtual, but you know how to do it.
Yeah.
It's just not as productive as we feel like full days can be. Yeah.
I appreciate you looking at it, not keeping it doing something just because it was in the calendar that we had to do it that way.
So that's the first change. The second proposal would be to add first grade as a staggered start also. Currently kindergarten starts A through M and through Z, and does that staggered start to have smaller class sizes and get acclimated to the building. Adding first grade to that makes Clear Creek the same schedule, which for transportation is much nicer also. And for just everybody, it becomes confusing to parents and everybody when it's like just one grade, not even the whole building, so this makes the whole building the same. But also, a couple other things, we get 100 new-ish first graders every year that go to somewhere else for all-day kindergarten, pretty much. So those kids have never been in the building, so it helps them with a smaller class size. But also, our first grade students, actually, their first day of school is pretty unique, just like a kindergarten, because they've never had lunch at school, they've never been there all day. So really, you know, it's a unique experience coming to first grade, just like it kind of is coming to kindergarten. That was a couple reasons. And that came through the Clear Creek BLT, so the teachers sent this really long list of reasons of why this would be great, you know. In addition, Carrie Corder sent a parent survey to some parents to get some feedback, and that was all positive, so.
And they have enough hours that it doesn't impact with the staggered. Yeah, makes sense.
So I'm sure we discussed this the first time around. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Changes, but I'm totally forgetting, not related to these changes, but I've been meaning to ask about this. We actually go after Memorial Day next year, and I can't remember, is that just an anomaly of the way that things fall, or what? Just if you could refresh my memory, and again, I apologize, I'm sure we discussed this when we approved it the first time, I'm just not remembering it, and had really appreciated that.
I don't think we did.
So with the addition of a week-long Thanksgiving break, that's kind of undone what we traditionally have done. We have a calendar committee, which is a large group that has met often here. And everybody, right, has an ideal calendar in their mind. And we look at testing, there's 100 things that we look at to try to pinpoint the best calendar that can be rolled out. And for some reason, the way the days were falling this next year, Memorial Day, we still needed 2 more.
I think the discussion in the committee came down to, like you said, the Thanksgiving break. So we could have taken those 2 days, Monday, Tuesday, and moved them to get out before Memorial Day. And that was not everybody agreed to that. And then, so the other option was to start earlier in August, and that would have been like the 8th, 9th, like really early August. And I think that was the discussion. Do we want to start that early in August?
Yeah.
That was the discussion of the committee. But you're right, the committee was.
And they're still out by June. So I think we've just gotten spoiled by.
You know, I hadn't appreciated the first time around that we went after, and so, because I know we have a week-long break this year, but we're still able to get out.
Right.
And I think some of it too, now that you say that, is Christmas break.
Christmas and
You know how like winter break's been like
Yeah.
not really 2 weeks, or it was like a Wednesday. It was weird because of when the holidays fell. I think that made a difference too for when I remember the conversation.
Any further questions?
Yeah.
No, I think it'll be good for the first graders to get that, you know what I mean, just to help get them acclimated to being in school all day.
And lunch is hard. If you've never done lunch with first time kids, it's not easy.
I think it's good.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
3.3 E-rate project, Ms. Cook.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. I bring to you this year's E-rate project that does include switches, access points, internet connectivity, and access to the internet within the 5 buildings in town and 5 points up on the north end of campus. So what we have is the monthly cost for the dark fiber is going to Windstream, who we've been with for some time. The lit fiber we do not need as we're in a 5-year contract. However, when we do the bids, we do have to do a lit fiber and a dark fiber bid for each. So that lit fiber is within a contract with SWOCA already on a 5-year that ends in 26. Our internet access, best bid was SWOCA, so we'll be going with SWOCA on internet access, and that is within the attachments. And the network equipment bid, our best available was Forward Edge with the labor included. So what you'll see within the packet is an E-rate contract for managed services. So what we pay our contract service Forward Edge, we do get back a chunk of that money through E-rate services. And you will also see the SWOCA agreement for monthly fees for internet access for all buildings. And that comes in at $60,000 for the year or $5,088 per month, and that includes all buildings. Are there any questions with regards to the contracts?
Could we change for, like, you got Windstream, then ENA, and has it always been the same?
Bidders? No, we had some other bidders last year because we had a lot of fiber within the project, so we had some companies that were fiber-only companies. This year we do not have that level of going into the project. We're not doing the fiber that we did last year, so we don't have those companies. So last year's bids look a little different than this year's. This year's, we typically always have MetroNet, SWOCA, AT&T, Windstream we get often. SWOCA for obvious reasons, the locality. I don't think we've seen AT&T in a while or ENA. Questivity is a new one.
So did the same people basically win the ones that they had had in the past?
Well, when you do the bidding process, the bids are weighted. So part of the weight of the bid includes past practice with companies.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay.
So when you weight out each of the bids, you're giving companies that you do not know less points than companies that you've worked with that have worked well.
Makes sense. Okay. Great. Thank you for explaining that.
Can you remind me, what schedule are we on to refresh our equipment? Because I feel like we...
Equipment?
Yeah, because isn't part of this like
Access points? Yes. So the access points, when we started the project, we were doing access points for one computer, one device per student.
I remember we had the
teacher.
conversation
Yes.
about like the number of devices people...
Yes, within the building. Right now, we are at 4 devices per person because of the watches, the phones, the Chromebooks. So folks have a lot more devices now. So I don't think that this is going to be a project that ever goes away, because we're always going to be increasing density to accommodate different types of equipment that come within our building.
Got it. So this is more, not...
This is
replacements.
additional.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm with you now. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. Makes sense.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
3.4 transition coordinator job description. So,
Mr. President, members of the board. Later in the agenda, we are going to bring the transition coordinator job description to you for approval. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that because it's not a new position to the district, it's a new position within the district. So currently we have a 3-day-a-week transition coordinator, and we contract that through the county, through the ESC, which we've done forever. I've been in front of you multiple times over the last couple of years talking about how we're growing our transition programming for our secondary students, the van that we purchased, the courses that we've added. The transition coordinator in a district wears many, many hats, but a big part of their role in the district is coordinating, organizing, all of the employment and life skills opportunities that the students participate in, building partnerships with community businesses, scheduling, arranging, making all of that happen. They also often hold an instructional role. Sometimes they're teaching a class, they're co-teaching with our intervention specialists. As we're growing this programming, it is absolutely a full-time job that a 3-day-a-week person cannot do. When we put this in the 5-year forecast 2 years ago, it has always been the plan as we've grown this transition programming to also grow the support for that programming. So we've planned to bring on a 5-day-a-week transition coordinator all along. When we look at going to full-time financially, it makes more sense to bring that in-house. So that's what we're attempting to do. And because it's never been an in-house position before, we didn't have a job description for it. So we're bringing the job description for approval so that we can hopefully entice someone and have that be a district employee moving forward.
So the person that's doing part-time right now, might they be interested in doing full-time?
Probably not, because they're an ESC employee and we have a non-compete with Warren County.
Well, we don't, but we do.
There's another conversation.
Yes.
We have posted it anticipated, waiting on approval of the position, and we definitely have some incredibly strong interested candidates. So I don't think we're going to have any issue filling that role.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
3.5, 24-25 lunch prices, Mr. Moore.
Me. I know I haven't met you guys yet.
Nice
so
to
it's
meet
really
you.
nice to meet you. I did print this out. You can follow along with some of the numbers.
Thanks. Can I give someone too?
We can share.
Okay.
Either I printed wrong or. Okay, so on the, the bottom, just so you guys could see kind of where we're at this year with lunch prices and percent participation off of enrollment, I just pulled out all that for you. And our free and reduced percentage, that has actually gone up this year because Ohio piloted Medicaid through direct certification. So I think I looked and our numbers were normally around 8%, and we're up to almost 13% this year because of that. So you can kind of see by school. The high school and the junior high, they don't do they do a lot of a la carte. So the meals look lower than how many kids we're actually seeing. But I would love to see the meals go up, so I wanted to try to do some things to increase our total meal participation. So the proposed pricing, I didn't do anything to elementary or intermediate. I kept it at $265. I will say I'm on a lot of email chains with different directors, all over Ohio, and we have the literal lowest meal prices. So just so you guys know. I think the closest one to us for elementary was $270. Most of them are more $290, $3. So I just want to point that out.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
Is our goal to break even, or is our goal to make money off of this?
So the whole, with the department, the goal is to have some income so you can put it back into the department, buying equipment, different things like that. From universal free meals, from looking at the budget, just my first year here, we do have a lot of money. So that's why I don't think at this point for elementary we need to do anything about it. Long-term meal prices are going up a lot, but we need to spend some of that money before we look into, we're not at that point yet.
So we're covering some of the increase of food by what we have saved from that.
So
Okay.
if you look, if we might not look like we're making money, or it might not even look like we're breaking even, but I'm trying to spend that money down and buy equipment, a bunch of things that they felt like they needed this year, so I have been spending a lot.
Yeah, okay.
But we have it, so. What I am proposing, because I don't want to spend that down too fast and get in a bad position, is a tiered lunch pricing for the junior high and high school. So there would be 3 different lunch prices, and it would depend on what it is, how much it costs, or how much labor goes into it. So I would keep $275, what it was this year, so that at least there are some meals that are at that $275. and then a $3.25 and a $3.75. So as you can see below, I kind of gave some examples. I mean, this isn't for sure. It depends what the meal prices are next year, because I won't know that until after July. But having a couple of the $2.75, so like grilled cheese, burgers, more of the easy options. And then the tier 2 would be the specialty meal of the day that like you see like the first thing on the menu, because I want to make those more like build your own bars like every single day. So kind of make them more like complex menus, since it's the only one that they go through the line and they can kind of like pick and choose what they want. And then I already put some of the stuff on the menu, but I want to like recoup some of that cost by upping it a little bit. So like whole muscle chicken sandwiches, I rolled those out at the junior high and high school. The kids are super excited about it. It's just a much better product, but it does cost more. If we make like specialty chicken sandwiches, pizza, and then the higher price one, we want to do like big specialty salads. So we kind of started small this year. They're super popular, but I want to make them like more like an entree size salad, like specialty wraps and yogurt parfaits. As most of you probably know, healthy food is more expensive, but I still want to be able to provide that for the kids.
And it still is not a bad cost, $3.75
Right.
for a pretty healthy lunch.
Yeah, and if you flip over, I kind of already talked about all this stuff on the top, but I gave you like some benchmarking data so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. This doesn't include elementary, this is more junior high and high school. So as you can see, we're still definitely going to be the lowest compared to everyone around. The closest one was Kettering at $2.90, but everyone else started at over $3. And some of them didn't have as many options as we have on the daily. Like some of them maybe only have 2 options, where we have like 15, 20. So, and then I did just want to point out, so like the cashier would bring it in, the parents would be able to see like what tier they bought and what it was, with the pricing attached. Free and reduced students will have access to every single option. That won't change anything. With the tier pricing, they can get any of the 3. And I just want to be able to offer like better quality school meals.
Well, I haven't been in the high school since 2013. What's a Bosco stick?
It's a cheese-filled breadstick.
Huh?
Very popular.
They're very popular. Those haven't changed much.
He's gonna be here at lunch tomorrow.
What about whole muscle chicken?
So like a normal school chicken patty is like, you know, chopped in form. It looks like a little puck. So this is like, they literally take
stuff.
Yeah, so this is like more what you would see at like Chick-fil-A, where it's like they're not all the same shape, and it's like an actual like cut of white meat instead of like white and dark mixed together.
Okay.
And it looks a lot better. Doesn't look like gray when you cut into it. It looks white.
It was the muscle thing that got me.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so many other things I can do. Like I just, you know, need to charge a little bit more to be able to bring those things in, and, you know, like I want to rotate some different types of like ethnic foods and just change it up, but that stuff is expensive, so. Yeah.
Are you seeing more with the kids, especially like my son's at the high school, and I know like you would probably tier 3 or tier 2.
Yeah.
Are you seeing those meals like more popular than like lunch, tier 1 lunch, or what you would consider?
Yeah, like they're gonna probably be the more popular ones. Yeah. But I mean, there's some kids, they get a cheeseburger every single day. Doesn't matter.
Right.
It just depends on the kids. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I had rolled out some new salads and wraps this year, and those have been like, we can barely keep up with them. They've been so popular. So they definitely want that kind of stuff. So just being able to offer more of it.
In my Active Minds group of students, the lunch menu is always a very hot topic. So when I meet with them next month, I'll see if they notice some of the changes.
Yeah, or what they might want to see. Yeah. Still trying to figure out what they want.
I was gonna ask that actually, because we changed, I'm on the Career Center board too, and we changed vendors this last year, and they did bring students in, and they had them sampling the food, and they actually brought them to a board meeting, and the students were sharing with us what they like and why they liked it, so they kind of were talking it up with their friends, that everybody wants to get the food at the Warren County Career Center, you know, so I think that is interesting to find out what are the things, you know,
Yeah.
to somehow survey, even if it's the group that Carrie meets with.
Yeah.
I think it's a great
In the
idea.
past, I've done that. I've either like sat in the like superintendent advisory, or I've done like surveys, or I want to do
can
like
be a
a
special guest
tasting.
next month.
Yeah. There's actually this new like chicken tikka masala product that's coming out, and I really want to like sample it with the high school students and see if they would like it or not.
Awesome.
So, yeah, like the vendors will actually come out and they'll set it up and they'll taste it, and then they have like little voting things. You just have to like work with them and set it up for them to come in.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
3.6, junior high new boiler. Boy, this sounds expensive.
Mr. Stuckey, please come and have a nice, healthy meal at the high school.
Okay.
That'd be great. So- And Kelsey is, by the way, is very humble. She does a great job in our nutrition services area, and so she really is proactive, you know, in looking at things. So very, very humble, so thank you. So back to the boiler. As you know, as we approached one of the coldest weeks of the winter, the boiler at the junior high did go bad on us. We had a tube that went out and busted on us. And so it took a lot of work and effort to get that tube basically brazed back so that we could actually have heat for the building. We were fortunate the next day it was going to be in the high 40s to low 50s. So it worked out okay for us at that time. But it's really not a stable boiler at this point, and we've gone through some multiple boilers at this building. This boiler did not have any redundancy built into it, so therefore we could not get any additional heat from it. So this also controls the classroom environments in the junior high. So we started researching and surveying and looking at things, and basically what we came up with is we wanted a redundant boiler so that if we have one section go down in the boiler, another section will fire up so that we can get heat into the building and into the classrooms. So it's like the one that we put in at Springboro Intermediate. It will allow for that redundancy to occur. Now, it may not give 100% heat, but it will at least give probably about 85% heat to the building if one section does go down. So that's a positive of what we're looking at here and doing. And so I think it'd be good for the building as well as for the district, because this boiler is the same type and model and style as the boiler we put in at SI. And so now we have consistency. So that really is nice when we have services that we need to provide for the boilers. So it is, we did bid it. We did look at competitive pricing, and Peck Hannaford came out as actually the most responsible and lowest bid on this process. Questions? Okay.
The air conditioning is on a separate. how
Yes,
does that work?
completely different. Yeah, it's a completely different system. This boiler actually sits in a very small room in the junior high, and yeah, and we looked at trying to maybe do 2 boilers in there, but then we started talking that that's a whole rework of that entire piping, and that would have been very costly. And so we did find a boiler that again had the redundancy in it. But again, this boiler controls the classrooms. So there is a boiler that controls other sections of the building. So we didn't lose entire heat in the building, but mainly for the classrooms.
Was this already in the 5-year forecast?
It was not. It was just kind of one of those things that came up suddenly, which is why we really are conservative with when we spend and how we spend our permanent improvement monies. And we are looking, of course, right now, you know, this is the time of year that we start spending and looking at capital projects and making sure that our bids are where they need to be. You know, we're looking at possibly a cooling tower for the high school here and that replacement. We're also looking at some asphalt work, you know, at the junior high. So we're currently working those bids now to try to make sure that they work within our budgetary numbers so that we're continually improving.
So we'll work within the budgetary numbers, we just have to move some other stuff.
Just got to shift, yeah, just an
Permanent
adjustment.
improvement
So,
funds, which
yeah.
are not part of the 5-year forecast.
Yeah.
Permanent improvement funds are a separate fund from the.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're constantly monitoring, and, you know, we're looking at, and we know we need to shift every once in a while, so, yeah, and those assumptions.
Is this a summer project?
Actually, they're looking to maybe doing it next week if it's approved tonight, yeah, so they're really geared up and ready. Fortunately, this particular boiler is in stock, which is very unusual. now, but they do have it ready, I think, to go. So they're hoping to get in next week and actually rip out the old and put in the new. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Committee reports.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Me. All right. Budget and Finance met on March 1st. One of the things we did this year that we haven't done in the past is we've added educational and operational updates from the different areas too, which has been well received. So Matt gave an update on the weather experience and the R factor. And then Liz gave an update on elementary curriculum, and then I had an update from Scott and Andrea on operations and secondary curriculum. And then we moved into the finance pieces, where I updated them on our cash flows through February, because we had the meeting March 1st. Cash flows through February against our 5-year forecast. Then I updated them on the Rockies Express appeal that I shared with you guys in our update. I went over the bond rating, our upgrade that we received on the bond rating. And then we went over some different demographics of how the district has changed over the last 12 years, and I found that pretty interesting. That was data from the Census Bureau. And so our next meeting is May 17th. Oh, and then this is curriculum council, and then DPC.
Board President, members of the board, we had our second DPC meeting this year. Good group again. We presented on STEM Fest, and we talked about the EPIC Teacher of the Year Awards, getting that process up and going. So that form is now live. It's been shared. Not too many changes from last year. The committee wanted to kind of help spread the word of mouth a little bit more, so they're going to be trying to work on that. But the form is posted. We'll keep reminding people to do it. The day we posted it, we had 9 nominations right away on it. So last year we had 140 nominations total. It'll run all the way to April 10th is the deadline. And then the next time we get together, which is April 17th, that will be when the committee gets together to decide. And then in May, we get together and go around and announce everything. Any questions? Thanks.
Curriculum Council met on February 22nd. All buildings were represented with parents, administrators, and teachers. We started out with an AI or human activity, so we showed slides of pictures and asked our constituents to decide whether they were artificial intelligence or if they were real. That went over well. We've done that with our principals as well. We talked about how we meet the needs of all students and who our learners are. So we broke down our learners as far as subgroups and went into our EL population, gave percentages of them. We also did an evaluation of how we go over curriculum materials for purchase and what else goes into the consideration of instructing students, including learning styles, as well as how we monitor progress, including math data, Ohio State test data, end of course data, value added. And we also had a gain clarification segment of that where our folks that attended gave us feedback on what they see within our schools and what they would like to see within our schools. Any questions on the Curriculum Council?
Any themes emerge out of that from the feedback session?
I think folks were surprised to hear about changes within our population and subgroups, particularly with regard to our EL population and our move-ins. So that was something that was a surprise. They seem very interested in learning more about AI. And they do have questions for us that we do intend to build our future agendas from.
I do have a question about the EL population. This might be a question for Matt. Are we okay staffing-wise with that increase, or is that something we need to look at? You're both shaking your head, no, we're not okay.
But we've got it.
In the future? Gotcha. Okay.
We've had a 50% increase in our EL population from last year to this year.
Wow, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Thanks, Sarah, for serving.
Any other business to discuss? No?
Nope.
Okay. Treasurer's report.
All right. If it comes to you, you can say it. Yeah. All right, the first item I have is February 2024 financials. Just a couple highlights. Our general fund revenue for February came in at just under 10 million. Over 8.5 billion was for tax revenue for the first half of the 2023 tax year. So you'll see those tax advances will be rolling in. You'll also see them in March, and then in April into May, you'll see the final. We had 1.2 million in state funding and 144,000 in miscellaneous revenue. That included school fees, investment interest, tax abatement revenue, and then tuition revenue. Our revenue or our cash flows are coming in about 1% of estimates, so we're really close on revenue. Everything is coming in as expected. On the expenditure side, our expenses came in at just over 5 million for the month. In each category, we are trending slightly under budget when I compare them to cash flows, and that's still happening currently, about 259,000 under estimates, which is very, very tight and close. But I do, in looking at our normal cash flows between the month of April and June, we do have slightly higher expenses in those months. That's typical. So I do expect that 259,000 to come back into what I'm anticipating for the year. At the close of February, we had 68 days of operating cash on hand, and so everything's looking really good. Our purchase order cutoff date is April 12th, so then we'll have those, kind of a surge in expenses for that through May and June. So that's the finances. If anyone has any questions, you can ask that. Otherwise, I'll move to item 4.2, which is the approval of our 24 permanent appropriation amendment. This is required for me to do each year. I have to do at least one amendment. It's just where I look at all of our revenue estimates, our expense estimates, and our cash flows, and then make any adjustments to the county auditor. And I usually bring that between February and March. Item 4.3 is the approval of the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission. This is also required, and it's due by April 1st. It's for them to set the applicable tax rates to make sure they collect the applicable taxes that are approved.
So there's things in 4.2 and 3 that I can't vote on?
Yeah, so 4.1 through 4.3.
Just keeps adding up.
I know, I'm sorry. Keep it legal.
Questions? Okay, is there a motion to accept 4.1 through 4.3?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Bath?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yeah,
Palage?
abstain.
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Goods?
Yes.
Playhouse?
Yes.
That's all right.
All right.
I'm
Item
not thinking
4.5,
straight.
approval of donation of $500 from the Rotary Club for the Interact Club advisor stipend that you'll see later on in the agenda. That'll cover that stipend. Item 4.6, approval of a donation of $1,000 from Cleveland Cliffs Steel Corporation to be used for robotics. Item 4.7, approval of a donation of $3,368.55 from 937 Inc. to be split evenly between the Job and Life Skills Special Education Student Activity accounts, and you'll see those on there, the amounts on there. Item 4.8 is approval of a donation of $50 gift card to Amazon from HMH. This was given to Cheryl Winter for helping the research study on features for online platforms. And they'll be used for books. That gift card will be used for books and classroom resources.
Is there a motion to accept 4. What is it?
5.
5. That's a 5.
Yeah, 4.5.
4.5 through 4.8.
So moved.
Second.
Who seconded? I'm sorry.
Sarah.
Sarah, thank you.
Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Bath?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Goods?
Yes.
Playhouse?
Yes.
All right, superintendent's report.
Yes, good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. It is with excitement that I propose to you to approve the change in our school calendar to eliminate the very antiquated and ineffective early release days.
All right. Is there a motion to accept 5.1?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Bath?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Goods?
Yes.
Playhouse?
Yes.
All right. Matt, you're up.
Good evening, Mr. Board President, members of the board. I come to you tonight seeking approval for the personnel report. It's kind of bittersweet. Obviously, we have retirement on here. Ms. Fauna, a Spanish teacher in the district, is going to end her career with 34 years of service. And we're certainly sad to see her go. On the other side, we have a couple new hires. We've got a speech path and a new social studies teacher at the junior high that we're excited to bring on to start their careers in Springboro. And then we have items.
Yeah, 6-2.
6.2. So I come seeking approval of the transition coordinator position that Sarah discussed during work session.
Is there a motion to accept 6-1 through 6-2?
So moved.
Second. Dan, continue.
Any discussion?
I just want to say, I do. I saw Josh Gillum on there, and I just think that is a testament to Springboro schools, because his mom works here, his dad works here, sister, either coach or works here. Am I right at that? Maybe not. Has maybe student taught here. She did something here. And now he's coming back, and that just shows they love when we look kind of like, you know, everything with the basketball, the small town feel. That I think to have our students come back to our home districts and accept positions, I just think it just says a lot about what we do here in Springboro. So, and it's always great when you can hire some of our past graduates. So I was excited to see his name on there.
He's been a long-term sub this year. He's done a fantastic job. Principal Lotsbay shared with me that he spent a lot of his planning time observing other teachers to improve his craft. So
really,
just real good, great relationship with kids. We're excited to have him.
That's awesome.
Roll call.
Bab?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Goods?
Yes.
Playhouse?
Yes.
6.4.
All right, 6.4 is our athletic report that I seek approval for tonight. These are our spring sports kind of cleanup. It's like the reality of what's actually now occurring versus what we thought. Coaches obviously commit to things and stuff happens, and sometimes they have to end up switching through roles to keep things moving.
Is there a motion to accept 6.4?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Bab?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Abstain.
Palage?
Yes.
Goods?
Yes.
Playhouse?
Yes.
Thank you.
7.1. Approval of the E-rate project. Ms. Cook.
Mr. President, members of the board, I'm seeking approval on the E-rate project, including internet connectivity, access point switches, and dark fiber.
All right. Is there a motion to accept 7.1?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Bab?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Goods?
Yes.
Playhouse?
Yes.
Thank you for your support.
Mr. Gilbert.
Mr. Board President, members of the board, we're presenting to you for approval this evening the 24-25 school lunch prices as were presented by Mrs. Warren this evening, as well as the approval of a new boiler for Springboro Junior High School.
Is there a motion to accept 6.1, or I'm sorry, 8.1 and 8.2?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Bab?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Goods?
Yes.
Playhouse?
Yes.
Thank you.
Reports, comments? Did you?
This isn't what it was, but very excited to announce our second annual naturalization ceremony tomorrow at the auditorium at 3 o'clock. That went well, their last year, and it was really exciting to be a part of that.
Comments? Sarah?
I just want to say congratulations to all of our athletes and groups. Congratulations to our wrestlers, our Kowalski. I love the community excitement for our boys and girls basketball teams. It was so much fun. I love just like seeing everybody come together. There's just a lot of excitement, and I loved it. Congrats also to both teams. The girls were finishing runner-up. Robotics also had a good showing as well for their competition. And I know with Springboro Stunfest, thank you to everybody who helped out with that, just because I know it's a lot. And it was great to see that come back. Love seeing all the smiles on the kids' faces. Happy kids, happy parents, hopefully. So that was a lot of fun. And then, also too, thank you to the donors for all the donations that we received. And then
Yeah, thank you again to the folks involved with STEM Fest. I didn't have a chance to go yesterday, but I'm speaking with some of you that it was well attended, and I'm glad that I've been able to bring that back. Yeah, just building on what Sarah said, just we obviously know we have great students here, and it's great to celebrate their accomplishments. I love seeing the class here, that they were able to come alongside Mrs. Mapp and her son and help that group feel sort of more at home. I think it's great to see their excitement and their passion for that. Yeah, and then obviously seeing what our students are able to accomplish athletically as well was great, although I was bad luck, I think, by going to the final, so sorry. Yeah, you can blame me. But no, it was great to see the support of our boys and girls teams, as well as our wrestlers as well. So, and then also I think since we last met, I had the opportunity to go to the junior high musical, the high school musical. I'm a big high school musical fan, so I was excited to see that, and they did a wonderful job with that. So yeah, it's great to see all the many talents of our students, see them in action. So yeah, just wanted to extend my congratulations to everybody, and thank you for all the donors as well. Again, every meeting, it's a generous list, and so just really appreciate the community support. That's it.
Also, yeah, I think on the donors, one thing that kind of was evident to me is we see a lot of names come up frequently. I know 937 Inc. has done a lot for us. So is the Rotary Club. So it's not like we're just getting one-time donations. I mean, these are commitments from groups of people in our community that frequently give to our schools. So big thank you there. And then the other thing, I'll just be the echo chamber here, but there was a time a couple years ago when we would be sweating with this boiler replacement, and we're past that now, and having that permanent improvement levy was kind of life-changing, so to speak, for our district. So again, thank you to the community for supporting that at the time, and that allows us to do these things. And there are going to be times when it's raining, and we need to dip into those funds, and we're privileged to be able to do that now. So just want to remind us, or everybody, that that's why we did that, and it pays off when we need it. So that's it.
Increase taxes.
I have a few things. Just like they all have alluded to, all of the celebrations around wrestling and basketball, and it's just, that's where, even though we're a larger district, some might look at us and say we're larger, that's where you have that small town feel. And when you go to UD Arena and you see like so many past administrators, and like people just came out of the woodwork, Mrs. Ray and Mrs. Strittenberger and Dr. Malone, and like so many, Mr. Berger, he's that right in front of me. It was just so cool to see so many people come along and support. So it reminds us what makes Springboro, and the wonderful parts about it. Also, I think that, like they mentioned with STEM Fest, so thankful that was brought back, because it was getting momentum, and then COVID hit, and it hasn't come back since then. And I just have to say, I was so impressed with our students that came out, and our teachers. There were multiple tables that were set up with teachers with the coolest of activities, super interactive. Robotics was amazing. Not as interactive, because they were into their machines, what you would picture with robotics, right? But just the volunteers all the way, during the expo, we had, I think ROTC is who came and helped us, and just great personality, super helpful. So I just think that we represented really, really well, both at STEM Fest and the expo. And thanks to all the administrators that were there at expo. Lots of you spent lots of your time here this weekend. So, but I think it's appreciated by the community seeing us represented. The last thing is I wanted to read something. Super disappointed, as you can imagine, that our Career Center bond issue did not pass. But I woke up to this email this morning. I'm just going to read a portion of our superintendent, Joel King's email to the board. As we teach our students daily, setbacks are a part of life, but we must persevere. Throughout history, setbacks have often resulted in the most significant innovations. We must now find a different path than we had planned to meet the needs of the students that so badly want to be part of our programs. We must work collaboratively and creatively to find ways to ensure that the students who wish to attend career technical education in Warren County can do so at WCCC. Then he said a few more things. Then he finished it with, we know how to live changing the program. We know how life-changing the programs are, and we must continue to find a way to offer them to any student because they deserve the opportunity. I believe we are going to look back at this moment and realize it was the catalyst to move us into what we didn't think was possible. We are going to overcome this challenge with the determination and desire that we are instilling in our students. And to me, that was just so inspirational. Did we get the result that we wanted? We didn't. But we value that there are a third of our students in our county are not getting in career tech when they want to. And one thing about Joel, he's very innovative with thinking how else can we serve these students. I know he's working with Matt and looking at different possibilities for Springboro and looking at what our community needs, because what we need might be different than Lebanon and Franklin or wherever. So I just want you to know that we are still committed as a Career Center board to finding different ways to meet the needs of our students, even though we unfortunately did not pass this bond issue yesterday. So that was it.
I'm going to echo some things, but thanks for all the donations that we received tonight. Yeah, the weekend with the expo and of course the STEM Fest. I'm glad it came back because I always look forward to seeing a ping pong ball shot out at 650 miles an hour, destroying pop cans, you know, and that, you know, he did a couple of them that, you know, later on he did another one that was pretty impressive. The expo, I think, was pretty successful. Keeps getting bigger because I think when we first started it was maybe in the main gym and spread to the auxiliary and then into the wrestling room and the hallway there. Sarah, did somebody finish up your Rubik's Cube that?
We went through 3 mosaics.
Oh, wow.
You did?
And then I ended up setting up a couple smaller ones.
Well, I'm sorry I couldn't be a part of it, but, you know, I just hate that thing. Let's see, what else? Oh, yeah, and then last, thank you to the young people that did what they did for our soldiers. It's really hard to believe that we have soldiers that are risking their lives and defending our country and nobody writes to them. You know, so you know, that's just one little group. You know, if everybody would partake in that, it would probably be a great thing. But anyway, thanks to that. So, I believe, yeah.
So any teachers that are in here, Josh would love to connect with classrooms. So if there are classrooms that are learning about something with Alaska, military, whatever, he will FaceTime in, and he is very, very willing to adjust what he's doing to give back to Springboro. So just kind of put it out there for whoever's here and whoever you might be talking to, he would love to just continue to be a part of giving back. But the other thing I wanted to mention was with STEM Fest. I want to do a shout out to Lynn Greenberg. That would not have happened without her. She 100% had this desire to bring it back. And I'm hopeful. When we started, I was one of the people that helped get it started, but we're kind of aging out and we need some young blood to come in here. So if you guys know of people that are passionate about this, it's an event we really don't want to drop, but we do need some just new blood in it to bring because eventually our kids are going to age out and we just need some younger volunteers. So I just wanted to do a shout out, thank you to her though, because this was a huge amount of work to bring something back. I think it was a great success. Sorry, forgot to say that before.
Anything else? All right, 10.1, need a motion to move into executive session to consider the appointment of a public employee or official and for the purchase of property for public purposes or the sale of property at a competitive bidding.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Bab?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Goods?
Yes.
Playhouse?
Yes.
We are